Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. In my country, there is a strong word saying that soap cannot clean itself. So you're asking me to introduce myself in one word or in 1 minute. So what I can tell you first, it's thanking ICD and Justice Sebutinde for this invitation, and it's a pleasure to meet you, young generation, and the power the future power is in your side, because I hope that the future judges of ICC, ICG are sitting in this room and not here. So what I will say that I'm Malian, I'm Senegalese, and I'm French as well, and I have a kind of universal culture because this is what I received from my parents, from my relatives, and from my friends. I'm a lawyer, I'm a mediator. I studied in Paris, international law, political science, and international criminal law, and now I have the pleasure to be the head, the pleasure and the honor to be the head of a defense office in ICC, which is a very big challenge because, as you know, ICC is the permanent international criminal court, and being in the defense side, it's not the easiest part, but I can see here one of the most famous defense counsel, Mr. Khan, and I'm sure he will agree that being a defense counsel is a challenge every day. So that I will stop there for the beer. I'm waiting for the authorization to...
You have.
Thank you, Chairman. I will just explain how the Rome Statute is the descendant of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That said, ICC is not inventing the wheel. It's just to say that disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in a barbarous act which have outraged the conscience of mankind. René Cassin, this is a preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, paragraph 2. Adopted in December 1948 in Paris at the General Assembly of the United Nations, 58 state members have decided to adopt this fundamental declaration. They were saying, this recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the humanity and the family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. You have to know that this fundamental declaration were inspiring all the subsequent important convention and based on the essential principle. It's not legally binding. It's not a legally binding instrument, but it's a fundamental norm about human rights, saying that you have to protect and to respect the humanity. It's as well considered as a customary law. What I can say that this influence were inspiring the European Convention of Human Rights, 1950, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, and even the African Charter on Human Rights and People Rights. So this fundamental declaration were inspiring the Rome Statute. The Rome Statute for a defense counsel and for a judge has two fundamental provisions, the Article 55 and the Article 67 about the right of the suspect and the right of the accused. And even my office, OPCD, were created by ICC judges for fair trial and to reestablish, to rectify the imbalance between the prosecution and the defense, the principle of equality of arm, creating this office to provide assistance and advice to all defense teams without discrimination. So that said, OPCD is just a little office with a lot of experience, but we prevent every team arriving in ICC to reinvent the wheel. We are the constitutional memory. I have chosen to take three quick examples to illustrate the role and the influence of the UNDH declaration on the Rome Statute. First example, the fundamental right is the right to a fair trial. You will find the origin of this right, which is in the Rome Statute, inside the Article 10 and the Article 11 of the UNDH. Just have in mind that in June 2008, one judge, because the Rome Statute is based on the principle of fair trial, and the prosecutor have a duty to give immediately all exculpatory material and spontaneously to the defense, and this was not done. A judge have decided in 2008 to stay the proceeding. So I remember some of my colleagues, it was like a tsunami inside the ICC, what will happen? And some people were saying, staying the proceeding, this is not in the Rome Statute. But if you read carefully the Article 21 of the Rome Statute, all the provision of the Rome Statute have to be implemented respecting the compatibility with human rights. So the second example I will give you is provisional release or release and presumption of innocence. You will find those roots of the Rome Statute in Article 9 and 11 of the UNDH. The big principle is liberty is the principle and the detention is the exception. And you will find this principle in the Article 6 of the European Convention on Human Rights. No one shall be subject to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. UNDHR. In ICC, in the Rome Statute, you always have this high principle of the possibility to be released, but practically it's difficult in ICC to see such example. Recently, 1 year ago, Belgium have signed an agreement, and it's the only agreement signed in all ICC life between a state party and the court. In case of ICC judges decide for a release, Belgium has accepted to welcome provisional release. The last example I will give you is about the right to family to receive a family visit for the detainees. Article 16 of the UNDHR. The family is the natural and the fundamental group in the society and is entitled to protection by society and the state. You will find the same principle in the regulation 100 in the regulation of the court. A detained person shall be entitled to receive visit. But in the ICC budget, there is no special budget for this kind of visit. Our judges, together with the registry, managed to organize regular family visits for the detainees because it's a high principle inside the Rome Statute. So, right to a fair trial, the right to be not to be arbitrarily detained, right to receive family visit, particularly when you are African and you are detained in Holland. This is not your choice. So those high principles are part of our legacy. Universal human and civil rights will only be respected under one condition: the humankind must realize that he is accountable for the world. Václav Havel. Thank you for your attention.